My name is Stephen. I'm an Andiamo floorboard specialist. Andiamo floorboards are imported from one of the largest manufacturers in the world. A wood floor is a product made to last for many years, but this involves it being properly installed and appropriately cared for. I'm going to show you how to properly lay our wooden floorboards with a non-adhesive barclick lock. We'll lay our floors using the floating method. The Andiamo floorboard is a natural product made from 100% wood. The structure of the floorboard is resistant to change in air temperature and humidity. Not one, but 3 layers of wood are arranged in a modern cross formation. Every Andiamo floorboard is a ready-to-use product, finished with either lacquer or oil, which can be used as soon as it is fitted. Anyone who is even remotely keen on DIY can lay an Andiamo floor without help. However, if you would prefer, you can use the services of an Andiamo floorboard fitter. Before wood floors are laid, all wet work on walls and ceiling should be finished, including priming, stopping, painting and decorative plaster. The concrete subfloor should be cleaned, vacuumed and without cracks. The room and subfloor which the floor is to be laid on must meet the following conditions. The moisture content of the cement-based subfloor should not exceed 2% or 0.5% for alternative substrates. The temperature should be between 18 degrees Celsius and 24 degrees Celsius when installing the floor, and the relative humidity should be maintained at a level between 45 and 60%. The quality of the concrete subflooring that you are laying the boards on is also important. Place a 2-meter transversing rule on the subfloor. The level can't deviate by more than 3 mm from the horizontal along the entire length of the rule. The concrete should be compact with no cracks or holes. It should also meet the relevant strength criteria: compression strength of 25 megapascals and peel strength of 1 megapascal. Remember to acclimatise the Andiamo boards in the factory packaging in the place where they are to be fitted for at least 40 hours before laying them. During this time, the wood floors adapt to the conditions in which they will be fitted and used. To assemble your floor, you will need a 1000-gram hammer, professional tapper, mounting lug, spacing wedges, square, electric or hand saw, a knife for cutting, a tape measure and pencil. It is recommended to lay the floor on natural cork underlay. This underlay evens out the subfloor and also improves the acoustic and thermal comforts of the floor. When unrolling the cork mat, leave a 10 cm wide expansion gap at the walls and other obstacles. Unroll the other cork mats with the edges just touching. Arrange the other remaining rolls of underlay as the work progresses. The direction the floor is laid depends on the dimensions of the room and the direction the sunlight comes in. If none of the room walls exceed 8 meters, the flooring should run lengthwise towards the sunlight that is perpendicular to the most sunlit window of the room. Any room side is longer than 8 meters, or the floor is installed in a long and narrow room such as a corridor, the floorboard should be fitted down the length of the room. After establishing the direction for laying the floor, measure the width of the room. Take the width of the expansion gaps, 2 times 15 mm, away from the result and divide it by the width of the floorboard. In this way, you can calculate how many rows of floorboards you will have to lay and where to cut off the last row of floorboards. If the last row is less than 70 mm wide, you should also trim the first row laid. Cut open the packs of floorboards with a knife from the bottom up so as not to damage the surface of the floorboard. Remember that the Andiamo floorboard is 100% wood and each has a unique appearance. Before laying the floor, you should lay out the floorboards and plan the pattern. Use the electric or hand saw to cut off the tongue sticking out of the first row of the floorboards. This allows the expansion gap to be made properly along the wall.
W pierwszym pasie podłogi obcinamy wystające pióro. Pozwoli to na prawidłowe wykonanie dylatacji, czyli szczeliny prześcienne. Kładziemy pierwszą deskę, a dzięki klinom dylatacyjnym pozostawiamy przy każdej ze ścian szczelinę 15
Lay the first floorboard, then use the spacing wedges to leave a 15mm gap by each wall. Remember that the floorboard connections in neighbouring rows must be staggered by a minimum of 50 cm. Add another floorboard and use the hammer and tapper to knock it on its lateral edge. Do the same with the subsequent rows of floorboards.
Dokładamy kolejną deskę i opuszczamy do dołu. Za pomocą dobijaka i młotka dobijamy deskę na krawędzi wzdłużnej. Podobnie postępujemy przy kolejnych pasach podłogi. Montaż ostatniego pasa podłogi
Fit the last row of floorboards by measuring the width of the floorboard and take into account the 15mm expansion gap from the wall. Tap the floorboard in using the mounting lug. When installing the floor in the door frame, it is imperative you leave an expansion gap 20mm wide. Cover the gap with the expansion slat. After the skirting board is fitted, our floor is ready to use. Now you can watch our other videos about fitting and caring for Andiamo floorboards.